Well, here we are, Porsche Panamera, but this one's a little different. It's everything the turbo has minus the turbo.
Without the turbos. This is the Panamera GTS. I know we've had the Panameras on here before, but I love these cars so much. They're so much fun to drive.
Yeah.
The Panamera GTS, you know, it's naturally aspirated, a V8, similar to the 400 horsepower V8 that's standard, but this one's been pumped up to 430, and it has basically every performance option of the turbo. This one has the carbon ceramic brakes, the most aggressive suspension tuning. It's lowered a few millimeters, almost a half an inch from stock, and it sounds great. I mean, it's got the sport exhaust on it.
It's throaty, it's mean. And also I realized when I was driving this car, as I was telling you, I'm driving around my Aston Martin. I don't like everyone looking at me. But this car, you look smart in this car. Like, you look like you know what you're doing. Like, this car, probably this car and like the Audi S8 are like the two cars where you go, that motherfucker's arrived. Like, that guy, he knows what he's doing. He likes cars. He knows what he wants.
Yeah.
Like, that is the kind of car. And
because you're not buying the big car because you know it's more expensive. You're buying it because you know it's the better performing car. That's the thing about the S8 and the Panamera.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's got the Alcantara steering wheel. I mean, you really feel like
Alcantara.
Yeah, you feel like you're in a cockpit. And it's funny. I looked in the back and I thought, oh, is there a fifth seat? Like, is there middle seating? Because I've run into this in the past where it's like, oh man, we're taking 5 dudes, we're going to San Diego, but we only got, and I thought, man, I wish you could put a 5th dude in the middle there. Like when we drove out to Pebble Beach this year, we had 3 dudes in the back and all that, and then I thought, nah, that would ruin it. Like it has the 2 rear buckets with the console that just kind of goes all the way through it. And it's one of these cars that, you know, you had to learn to love aesthetically, and it just went, it kind of shows you, it's like, the Panamera is like it's like some chick that you go, I don't know, she got kind of a fat ass. And then she comes over and goes, oh yeah, you like Mustangs? I like Mustangs. I got a blower on mine. And then you go, you blower, really? Yeah. I mean, it's the old Fox body style. And you're like, well, you know about that? Yeah. I like the fastback. I don't like the notchback. And then all of a sudden she starts getting more attractive. And then next thing you know, she gets a beer and she puts her key in the side of it and shotguns it in front of you. And then you're like, wow. And then she's like, I got to split because I got a fantasy football pick coming up. And you're like, whoa. And then you find out she's a dyke. But for a minute, no, this car is like, you go like, I don't know. It's kind of weird looking. And then you drive it, and then you sit in it, and then you put your head into it, and then you hear it, and then you see the performance specs on it, and you go, that's a hot car.
Yeah, this car especially, because everyone that's never driven it still is kind of iffy on the design.
Right.
But once you get in it and you drive it, this car is.
Well, do I got the key on me?
The key is in the center console. You can fire it up.
It's throaty. Somewhere around 5,500 it gets kind of throaty.
The sport exhaust has that button inside that you can turn it on and off, but it doesn't. What I like about it is it doesn't reset every time you start the car. So when you can turn the exhaust on and leave it on the whole time.
And it's got the sort of permanent key on the left side because it's a Porsche.
That's kind of weird. Like, you can put the push button.
Yeah,
but
it's got the tack front and center. It's got the big analog clock, which is kind of nice. You can hear it ticking the whole time. They probably work that ticking sound like into the surround sound system or something. But you literally hear it tick, 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 tick. I mean, it's sort of the sound of precision, you know.
Yeah.
There's the V8. It's a 4.8 V8.
And again, this was about a 30 horsepower bump over the normal V8,
right,
which is 400 horsepower. This is 430, and I think what they did is they took the cams out of the turbo engine and they put it in here with a new calibration, and they got a little more lift on the cams, that extra power.
Yeah.
And something tells me that you don't drive this thing to the Home Depot in Sun Valley like I drive it around my neighborhood.
Right.
But when you put this thing in a sport mode, and you use the paddle shifters, even without the paddle shifters and full automatic, it does a full-on downshift blip in the throttle. Like this
Right.
thing is probably the best
It mocks
paddle
me.
shifted like calibration I've ever. It really feels like it's way smarter than you.
It is.
Those Germans, man.
And it's a ton of car. Now, what's this thing base at? Like 110?
Okay, so they didn't send us the sticker, but it's supposed to be about 109 or so for the base GTS.
Oh, I was way off.
This has the carbon ceramic brakes, which I don't think are standard on the car. So you
Uh-huh.
figure another 10,000 or so.
Right.
This one, as it sits, is about 125.
Uh-huh.
Now the Turbo S that we drove, that had every option, came in at like 215. You know, they start at
Right,
185
right.
up to 215.
Yeah.
So, and you know, you can look at this anywhere between $100,000 less, maybe $70,000 less.
Considering the V6 was really enough car for us to take on a nice road trip,
Yeah.
this V8, especially the tweaked V8, nice if you don't want to go whole hog with the turbos. And turbos do wear out, they do break, and there are issues involving turbos. Turbos
Yeah.
don't go 150,000 miles, as at least that's my experience. Oiling lines, whatever. So turbos, you know, are kind of one more thing to crap out 100 miles after the warranty is shut down, you know. And I can only imagine what it would cost to get those two turbos replaced.
I don't think you've replaced them. I think you just send it back.
This is bulletproof, and I think for the extra 50 grand savings, worth it.
I've driven the 6-cylinder, the 8-cylinder, the Turbo S, and the hybrid, and this is my favorite one.
Well, there you go. This man has driven he has banged every Kardashian. And he says Chloe's his favorite. All right, so until next time, this is Adam Carolla for Les Canaday and Matt D'Andrea saying, keep the air in the spare and the bag in the wheel.